What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and guys, today I'm having the pleasure of discussing Season 1 of the Star Trek series Picard, starring Patrick Stewart, returning as his titular role as Jean-Luc Picard. And guys, before I jump into it, I'm going to have some light spoilers, so if you haven't seen the series, whether it was on CBS All Access or haven't purchased them and watched the episodes, just to let you know you have been warned. But if you don't care about the spoilers that I'm going to be delving into, without further ado, let's jump into my review of Picard, Season 1. Decades after the Next Generation's final big-screen adventure, Admiral Jean-Luc Picard is called back to action when he encounters a mysterious young woman as she is being hunted by a squad of assassins. After Picard discovers her connection to an old ally, he makes it his mission to protect her and discover a secret prophecy that she is the key to. So, let me preface this by saying I didn't grow up a huge Star Trek fan, and as a matter of fact, what really got me into the Star Trek universe, or world as it were, was the J.J. Abrams reboot films. And then that got me to go back to the original series, which I bought on Blu-ray, and then, of course, after I had watched that and gotten those films, I had to jump to the Next Generation and those sets of films, because the Next Generation was the flagship, the landmark series of Star Trek. The original Star Trek series was only 3 seasons, if anything, plus the unofficial cartoon continuation, which people like to acknowledge as a 4th season almost, but it was prematurely canceled, and honestly, the big success really came into when the films kind of came into their own, and when actually having the Next Generation's crew came into play, because that had a solid 7-season run and is heralded as like the most well-loved and fan-favorite Star Trek series. I did really enjoy it, and this really enticed me because it's set in kind of that J.J. Abrams aesthetic, but it does have a continuation of not only the Next Generation, or, decades after, but it actually also ties to the Kelvin timeline, because this takes place after the Romulan kind of implosion, as it were. And as far as the format of the episodes, they're not very episodic in nature. They're actually meant to be watched in a longer format because they all connect to each other. They're all chronological, in which Picard ends up finding this mysterious girl who turns out to be the daughter of Data somehow, which I was like, and not to mention that, but the show itself actually was really awesome in terms of cameos and callbacks. For me personally, especially since it's all fresh in my mind, I mean, you had people like Hugh, who was the one kind of aware Borg from an episode long ago in TNG, which I remember watching a couple months back when I was kind of binging the whole series. 7 of 9, you had cameos by Riker and Deanna Troi, and of course you had cameos by none other than Data himself in these forms of visions and everything. And I mean, oh my god. But in all seriousness, of course, Brent Spiner and the way that the makeup is and everything is different from how it was back then. Although they probably could have shelled out a little bit of cash to slim him down and make him more droid-like, as it were. And of course, I can't really say enough about how Patrick Stewart still works well as Picard. I mean, obviously he's a different type of Picard, and, he's not as much of a spring chicken. But the thing is that at his heart, he is still that empathetic kind of do-gooder, and that awesome Admiral / Captain that you remember from TNG, just a little bit more grizzled and everything. Some of the episodes felt really, really cringy slow to me, and a lot of that is due to the fact that, there wasn't really much focus on Picard in certain aspects, which a lot of shows like this really fall into that trap almost. Nothing against the crew that he works with, but they are definitely not the TNG crew, but nonetheless, I think that it stands on its own because it's not trying to mimic and emulate every single thing from TNG, but the callbacks do help to kind of move the pace along a little bit better for me personally. And then one of the last things that I actually disliked was the fact that there wasn't more Data. And then not only that, but at the end of the entire season, they actually erased Data's existence and his AI from being. And as I say that, I really do feel at the same time, as much as it kind of hurt me as a fan of TNG and as being someone who really liked Data and how he was, I can totally see how it works well. It still doesn't make it any better for me when I'm thinking about, they killed Data, they killed my dude Data, but, I think I'll get over it. Now, As far as going forward in the series, I don't even know how they're going to be able to make a season 2 personally. Because, I mean, what do you do after you've saved the world again? At this point in the game, with something that was pretty decent like this, I feel like the show can run the risk of really getting a little bit more contrived and a little bit less believable as we go on, especially with Sir Patrick Stewart being older and kind of aging, and kind of the things that they might be involved in and what they're going to be doing and what they might ask of him as a performer and as Jean-Luc Picard and everything. Overall, the show itself, season 1 that is, I give a 3 out of 5 stars. It's a solid show. If you're a fan of the J.J. Abrams and the TNG series and you're like Patrick Stewart, you're going to definitely enjoy this. So, guys, if you haven't seen Picard season 1, go check it out. But as for me, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. So until next time, guys, as always, like, comment, subscribe if you dug the video. And guys, if you are sub, make sure you hit that bell button. That way you never miss a moment of my content. But until next time, guys, as always, I'm Jay. So take care, and bye.